So you missed class and you need to know how to set up your paper. We'll be using a ruler, and we'll use the inches side that has 1 or 0 through 12, and then, but not the centimeter. So you see how the centimeter is much closer together, and it's 0 to like 31. We're using the inches side for all of our measuring. You're going to line up the edge of your ruler with the edge of the paper. Double check that the top, it looks about roughly the same. And then at 1, 11, and 12, you're going to make these little notches at the top of your paper, and then you'll come to the bottom, line it up, and again at 1, 11, 12, you'll make those notches, and now you're going to line up with your ruler. You're going to put your pencil on that 12 notch at the top, put your ruler up against it, and remember, if you're right-handed, please stay on the right side of your ruler. If you're left-handed, make sure you stay on the left side. We are not playing cross it over. So you're going to put your pencil on that notch, that 12 notch at the top, line up with that 12 notch on the bottom, and then pull towards you. My line's going to be a little wonky because the ruler I'm having to use right now is a little wonky. Then at the 11 notch, you line it up with the 11 notch at the bottom. And there you go. And you come over to the 1 notch, line up with the top, line up with the bottom. Go towards you. Then you go turn the paper so that the singular line is closest to you and the 2 lines are further away. You take your ruler on the singular line, line it up. Make a notch at the 1, make a notch at the 11. It should be a whole inch down here, but I didn't cut my paper right, so it happens. It's okay. Put the notch at the 1 and the 11, line it up again with the next closest line, not the furthest. And put a notch at 1, put a notch at 11. And then just like before, you're going to line up those 11 notches. Hold down the ruler, pull towards me. If you notice I didn't do this little section or this one, that's fine, that's what you want. I'm going to line up here with the 1 notches, pull towards me. And I should have a paper that looks like this right now. Now before you move on to the next step, you can go ahead and erase these little bits here so you don't forget. And it'll leave you with a floating box, essentially, with a line to the right. So it should be like that. You have your floating box and your line to the right. Trying to get that shadow off the paper, or at least most of it. There you go. So now what you're going to do, we have to find the middle. Now, if you're like me, your ruler is not long enough. So what you need to do, and I'm going to switch out pencils for this because that one's a little chunky. You're going to line up with the corner on one end. You're going to put your pencil like this. And on this side of the pencil, we're looking to line up with that corner. And on this side of the ruler, we're looking to line up with that corner. So we're going to come in. That looks right. Very lightly, not all the way across, just very lightly. Draw a line there. Do it again here. The reason you're doing this is because we need to find the middle to do the part after this, but other than that, you don't need to divide it into even parts because you're dividing into 7, not 8. So we have that. We now have our middle. And just like before, if you would like to, you can go ahead and erase the lines that you do not need because they might confuse you for the next part. So now that's what I got. I found my middle. I'm good. Now what we're going to do is we're going to be coming in and putting more notches around the edge. We're going to be putting 2 notches on the top, 2 notches on the left, 2 notches on the bottom, and 1 on the right. So what these notches are going to do is they're going to make it so we can roughly see how spaced out our triangles will be, since we're making 7 and not 8. So I'm going to put one right here, put one right here, here, and for lefts, I'll put one there. So looking at it, this looks like it's too close, so I'm going to go ahead and drop that down. Erase the one I don't need. This one looks super wide. So does that still. So I'm going to drop this over to the side. I'm going to bring this one over to here. Maybe bring this one over even a little bit more. I think that looks okay. So now what I'm going to do, I could drop this one a little. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up with each of those notches in the middle, pull towards me, turn your paper as you go so you have something. Draw these super, super light. The reason why we are drawing super light is so if we notice after we've made these that we need to go back and erase any, we can. And it won't leave marks, because remember, part of what you're being graded on is your craftsmanship, which includes neatness. So we're going to come through. This should be the last one. Let's see. Cursor glance. I need to move this one over to about, say, here. I need to move this one down, say, to here. So let's do that. I'm going to draw them before I erase them. Before you draw, so you know what to erase, you can always draw a little X on it to remember, okay? Erase what you don't need. That looks more even. I could probably drop this one a little bit, so I put that little notch. I might have dropped this one too far. There we go. Now, they don't have to be perfect, but you need to kind of look at it and be like, does that look about even? I think roughly we're okay with that. Now, what I suggest before you move on from here is going through and like labeling your boxes a little bit so that you make sure that you have 7 and not more or less, and you have a plan for where you're putting things. So like I said, line here for me, shape, color, form, and I'll put value up here, space, line, shape, color, form, space, value, texture, and I'll put texture here. So that's it for setting up in pencil.